yeah, now I remember everything. Welcome back to Reality Court. As you guys know, my co-host is on maternity leave. That's what he calls it. And he had a baby boy, Riggs, and everybody's very excited. I feel like kind of a step grandmother or very old auntie.
I was going to say godmother.
We're all really excited for him. He's so cute. Yeah. And so I have the pleasure of having my co-host, my old co-host, be my new co-host today, Richie Skye. You guys all know him and love him. Richie has a new podcast, right? Richie, tell us about your new podcast.
It's called Beyond Reality. It's with RHOC, of course.
Of course.
Thanks to you and Ace. I really appreciate that. But yeah, it's about people who have done reality TV and sort of found a path forward for themselves afterwards and sort of reflecting on that time period when they were on and then sort of making that parallel to where they are now and how they got to where they are now and the things that they're doing.
I love that, Richie. I'm going to be on, so you guys need to check that out. You know what? That's a brilliant idea. Because I had wanted to do one, everybody, there's so many podcasts, but really it's not so much the subject matter as it is the personalities of the people that are doing it, but you want it to be interesting. And I love the idea of doing a podcast that invited just friends of, just called Friends of. But because I think that even the friends of, especially nowadays, that they have such a huge involvement in the show, are changed by the show, just like everybody else. So I love the whole concept.
I do love that concept of the Friends of as well, because I think that it's funny because Friends of, I think at one point in time were bigger and then they kind of took a little bit of a background role. And now I feel like they're coming back to the forefront.
They're huge now. Yeah. Especially on Miami, where I think Matt Anderson, the producer, my BFF, that he calls them super friends.
Yeah.
That Miami has super friends. And I think that's right. I think Miami does have super friends. Okay. If you guys are wondering about my hair situation, stop laughing, Richie. So here's the thing. I'm leaving tomorrow to LA to go see Lola and to do Jeff Lewis. And I couldn't get a hair appointment. And I realized, look how red my scalp is, that my roots looked really bad. And so then I decided to do it myself. And then it got brassy. So then I put a toner in to tone the brassiness. And now it's purple. So somebody told me a clarifying shampoo, but so it's not a figment. It's not a figment of your imagination. My hair is actually purple, and I could have pretended that it was on purpose, that I'm doing a thing.
Honestly, if you hadn't said anything, I would have just thought there's a strand of pink there. But I told you already, I'm colorblind, right? So
all men are colorblind, Richie.
I feel like that's a thing.
All men are colorblind.
I feel like that's a thing.
Well, listen. It is what it is, and you guys know I'm a do-it-yourselfer. I like doing. There are very few things that I don't think I can do, and clearly hair isn't one of them. So,
just for men.
Just for men. I know. It's
simple and easy.
It's a disaster. So anyway, so today we're just going to talk to Richie about a little bit about what's going on in the OC because, it's a little crazy. And then also, I'd love to see your perspective on the new Real Housewives of Potomac, Karen Huger and all that, because I know that's your, those are your people in the sense, I'm not saying they're your people because most of them are black. I'm saying they're your people. I'm saying they're your people because you're friends with so many of them and you've always had, and you live there.
Yeah, I'm in the area.
You're in the area.
They're right down the street.
They're right down the street. Okay, so cool. All right, so let's start with this most recent episode of Real Housewives of Orange County. Last week, when I recorded with Ace, we finally were on the same page about Katie. Because Ace loves, I really think he does it to piss me off, but he loves Kiki from Miami, and I'm sure you do too. I'm not a Kiki fan. And I didn't like Katie. And then, when they...
Wait, why didn't you like Katie?
I don't want to say now why I didn't like her. Well, I didn't like her because I thought she was a liar. But before all this happened, before the whole lie detector thing, like
Okay.
I thought, when she talked about the whole, not a liar, but like that her daughter did it was a daughter that did a podcast or an interview, and I thought that she kind of steps all over herself when explaining things, and I don't think she was that forthcoming. And I think it's maybe just the way she speaks, and I also think that, she's a new housewife for all practical purposes, and so you tend to be very careful and very, when every word that comes out of your mouth when you're new at this is like, is this going to get me, another season, or is this going to ruin the opportunity to have another season? I feel grateful that didn't happen when I was on the show, because I had no idea. There was no point of reference. It was really early on, and I didn't really watch the show. But now I think that housewives are so prepared that preparedness hurts them more than helps them, I think. So anyway, but I completely changed my mind about Katie. I was horrified by the bullying, and it's just wrong, everything they're doing to her. Even having her alone, sitting by herself in the post show is cruel to me. So in this episode, she talks about the fact that the lie detectors was all a setup because the people were on TV. And I agree with that, because I did a little bit of a deep dive with that woman with the awful bangs. First of all, if you have really bad bangs, I already don't trust you, and no, and as a polygraph examiner, you're supposed to be objective, and she wasn't objective. It's like she stood there, she goes, you lied about everything. She lied about everything. It's like, the truth is that there's a reason these things aren't admissible, but especially this made-for-TV polygraph test. I hated when Heather said, well, my husband is a doctor on TV.
My God.
To kind of, fuck her for that.
That literally chapped my butt bad.
Me too.
Because I'm like, Heather, you know better. Like,
she knows better. She's
that's
smarter than that.
Apples and oranges there. Apples and oranges.
Completely.
It also baffled me that Emily is the one who is suggesting this lie detector. Because isn't she also an attorney?
Yeah. And look, I've talked about it last week about how a polygraph test can be a useful tool, even though it's not admissible, because a lot of times lawyers will use it if they know their client isn't lying and present it in court, as evidence. And then, of course, the other side objects to being inadmissible, but then the judge has already seen it. And if it said, even if he tries to disregard it, forget it, it's there. And it is, in many cases, 99%, but there's so many factors, If you're a very nervous person, if you're on TV, if it's forced upon you in a given moment where you didn't plan for it, there are a lot of different things. And I don't know why these women are doing that. What's wrong with them? When did they become so cruel?
Yeah, it did seem, I mean, again, it's so suspicious for me because it was Emily who was suggesting this. And I'm like, you have this background, you have this knowledge, so you know better.
Yeah.
Heather knows better than what she said about her husband being on TV.
Right.
I mean,
right.
Come on, like that's crazy. And furthermore, we all know that there was something up with that lie detector test because Gretchen passed it.
Right.
There's your
that's the proof. You're
there.
Absolutely right, because she has, on the one hand, Slade said this. Well, I think we've seen her lie, right, on TV, like talking to different people.
She said two different things about going to the hospital.
Right.
So which is it?
Honestly, that's what Katie needs to say. That's the most important thing. I thought that her husband, who's been on some podcasts lately, he seems very credible also. And I feel like, I'm glad that she has him.
Well, I think in this episode we see, Jen talking to Katie about what happened the day of the lie detector.
Right.
And you see Katie trying to reason with Jen about, hey, you know what happened at that dinner when
Right.
Gretchen and Slade told us this information. Why are you not willing to tell the truth? Yeah. And Jen is very much like, you're trying to rope me into something and I don't want to be a part of it. Everything around you is messy. And I felt like everything that Jen was saying was basically a telltale sign of, I'm not going to go down with your ship.
I've been through that. I have been through that, and it's so painful and frustrating, even as far back as the reunion with the whole Leah thing. Mm-hmm. Not that I'm proud of how I handled that, but it happened the way it happened. And while I was there, everyone was like high-fiving me, like, oh my God, you told Leah, whatever. Not that I knew what I was doing at the time, but I wasn't afraid of her, and I think that's what they were excited about. After they cut that out of the reunion, no one had any recollection because it was in their best interest to not talk about the fact that actually happened, because they figured that she had a better chance of staying on the show than I did. And they were right. But also, it didn't help them in any way because she hates them anyway. So, I mean, look, the whole thing is that when you have integrity, even if it takes a little time for that to reveal itself, people remember and people will hold others accountable for it. The problem is that in that process, you have to hear things like, oh, you did this, or you suck, or you whatever, or you didn't talk, or you froze, or, that kind of stuff is difficult. But, she has to be patient, and I think that the truth will come out, and then everyone is going to start backtracking, just like they did with Gertie and the way that she was treated. And now it's like, oh no, what happened was awful. It's like, really? You ignored it, you laughed at it, you minimized her feelings about it, and now, it's not convenient to admit who you are. But that's the essence of who you are when you show that. So I don't think I'm going to forget what Emily did. I don't think I'm going to forget what Gretchen, I already can't stand Gretchen and any of them. I never liked Heather, but now Heather, you're right. I thought she was smarter than that. To say that.
She is. I think she's being woefully obtuse because she knows that, I think in that moment, she felt like she was doing the thing that needed to be done. And I feel like there was some weird thing with the group that they wanted Katie out of the picture. Yeah. And I don't really get why. She's not the most, let's be real, okay?
She's younger, she's prettier, she's got
she's all of those things, but she's not necessarily the most outspoken character on the show.
Can you imagine if everybody's outspoken?
Exactly, and that's the thing.
You need a little bit of everything.
You have to have a balance of different personality types in order to make this show work, right? You have to have a Jen who wants to be with the girls so badly that she will seemingly, allegedly, just go wherever the wind blows and whatever benefits her. And they call that personality type, I guess, the wannabe, right? The person who wants to be in the in crowd in some way, shape, or form,
but
whether that's with Gretchen or someone else. Yeah,
I get that from her, though.
I get that from her, too.
Gives me a wannabe vibe, 100%. So, I don't know. I found the scene at the beach. First of all, there was a few things that were funny about that. Apparently, it was Jen doesn't have money, so like lunch was a croissant in a box or something, like a small one. It wasn't even the Costco size. I thought that was kind of funny because usually production helps with that stuff. I don't know.
I think that they want to let it be known that she is lacking in the financial area.
Right.
But it's part of her story. I guess that's what they're trying to establish.
Yeah, I don't know. She's also really gullible, and I don't know that I trust that guy at all. But then the really, really painful thing to watch was how fast Tamra and Gretchen decided that everything's good, and they held hands and skipped back together. I mean, it's just that Tamra, look, I get Tamra is a professional housewife. She's good at it. You know, love her or hate her, she doesn't care as long as you're watching and talking about her. Mm-hmm. But wow, that's crazy. Crazy.
It's so layered because I think that there is this idea that on the one hand, I understand what Tamara's trying to do, right? Like, girl, like your issues with me are from years ago. Okay. Like she is like, I am living in the moment right now. Let it go. This is what we need to move forward in order for this group to continue forward. Right. She's kind of leading that charge. But at the same time, I feel like Gretchen is holding on to hurt and holding on to these things because they did happen and they were never acknowledged because she was taken out of the TV arena. So she never got a public apology. She never got that visible like moment from Tamra of remorse or anything like that. So Gretchen is still searching for something that she's probably never going to get, but she's also going about it, I think, in the wrong way. Whatever she told Katie and Jen and the group at dinner that night, like she has somehow, like, either she needs to be very truthful about what really happened, and if you felt like you were roofied, girl, say it.
Right.
Like, exactly. Say it, because going back and looking at the footage does not make Tamra nor Vicki look all that great. And I listen, I love Vicki, OG of the OC and all that. But at the end of the day, when you go back and watch those scenes, they look crazy.
Yeah. They started out crazy. That's really funny because they have always been crazy. It's not like the show made them crazy. They were always crazy. I just think that Gretchen is frozen in time. Not only the way that she looks, but like it's time to get over that shit. That happened years ago, you know? I don't know that they need to litigate this whole thing again. It's like, unless, bring Vicki in and let's have a real powwow.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I said if Gretchen really felt that way, then say it. That's how I felt. And whether it was true or not that you did or did not do that, okay, we could deal with that. But this is how I felt. This is what you did. That's how I felt about it.
Right.
And I say if they did that, if she did that, Gretchen would appear much more real to me.
Right. And Slade is also, anything that Slade says, I automatically disregard it. I also has not changed at all. He's like that same sleazy Slade. It's awful.
It just reminds me.
It really is awful.
As we see these flashbacks, it just reminds me of, like, I know this gets a bad rap, but like a used car salesman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like a handsome used car salesman. Like somebody that is like going to sell your grandma a really bad car.
Yeah.
And that's what it feels like.
Right. And not think about it again. Like with no remorse, that's who he is. He's out for Slade and he's out for himself. And he loves being on this show. I'm sure he wanted to be on the show more than Gretchen did.
Why do you think that they changed their like? Okay, so like let's say allegedly that Gretchen did say these things at dinner. Why do you think they changed their tune about it? Was it because they felt like they feared some type of lawsuit? Because you can't sue somebody over this is how I felt at the time. This is what I thought.
Yeah, no, I mean maybe they think that. You know how I feel about lawsuits in that arena. It's like. You know what you signed up for. You signed a contract, whatever. Just tell us the truth. I can't figure out why she changed or if she really thinks that she didn't say it or if she's trying to appease whoever she's talking to at the moment. But
I feel like she knows because I feel like she's utilizing that lie detector test as the means for which she is telling the truth, right?
Yeah.
And she's going to, unless something comes up from Katie with these text messages, I think that she's going to continue down that path. And I wonder what she's going to say at the reunion because Tamra noticed it, Shannon noticed it, that you said two different things.
Right.
You said you went to the hospital, and now you're saying you should have went to the hospital.
And then
Those
she
are
says, "I
two
misspoke."
different things.
Misspoke.
Who misspeaks about going to the hospital?
Nobody. No, and it's two different things. It's not like a nuanced little detail. I was wearing my pink dress when I went to the hospital.
Exactly.
Or I was wearing a blue dress. No, that's misspeaking. But whether you went or not, that's not misspeaking. Like, again, I don't know.
That's like she didn't remember if she had ever taken a lie detector test. And it's like, girl, you took one on another show.
Yeah. So I do think that Tamra, as always, has an agenda, and I think it's strategic. I think that she wants to be good with everybody heading up to, I guess they're at the mid-season point or maybe a little bit more. I think she's going to, she was on Jeff recently and she talked about a few things. Among the things she talked about, and actually Kelly Dodd, who was on the podcast, I'm sorry for all the people that don't like Kelly Dodd. I just want you guys to understand we don't have the same views, but I take her with a grain of salt. We were talking about that before the show. Mm-hmm. And, but I get it. You guys don't like her. So I will take that into consideration in the future. But she also said, everyone thinks that Shannon should go. I personally like Shannon.
I like Shannon.
I think Shannon has a Lucille Ball vibe and is kind of like she's a disaster. And Tamra suggested that was a shtick, and I don't think it is. I think she's really like that.
I think that that's who Shannon actually is at her core, because that is who she's been from the beginning. There has been no delineation between some other Shannon and the Shannon we see.
You're right.
I think that this is just Shannon, and I appreciate a person that reacts and overreacts because that's what I want to watch.
Right. Like a lot of people say that about Gertie, but I find Gertie entertaining. I like that she does all these. Yeah,
she to me is I feel like you need someone, especially what I noticed with Gertie is in this season, is that she's become a professional confessional person.
She's such a
she's
pro.
Great in the and you need somebody who can narrate in a funny way without being mean. Like, it doesn't come across as mean. It's just
it doesn't.
funny.
And she gives them the sound bites, and she's a pro. And yeah, I think Shannon serves an important purpose. We have this show where everybody's kind of posing. All they care about is how they look, this angle, that angle, like what they're wearing. She doesn't give a fuck, and I appreciate that because
you could tell she's trying. But
she's trying,
it's fun to watch us. It's fun to watch her try.
I mean, she opens the door and her hair is all over the place, and it's like, I don't even see Shannon ever in a relationship again, because I can't imagine. She's so set in her ways, and as you get older, you get set in your ways, and I just feel like after John Jansen, I just don't John Jansen, whatever the hell he is. I think she was really in love with him and it hurt her. And then I think she became a little crazier. But I would have, if it were me, I'd be like, I want him to see what he's missing. And like he ended up with Jesus jugs and what a mistake it was. And I'd try to look the best that I've ever looked and be like totally put together. And she doesn't care. And the fact that she doesn't care, given that what happened to her, makes me think that it's very authentic. So,
yeah, I 100% believe that.
Yeah.
I think that Tamra doesn't like, this is just my opinion. I think that Tamra does not like the fact that Shannon gets all of this attention because she does have her meltdowns, and it is like clockwork. And to the cast and crew, it probably seems like, oh, here we go again. But to the viewer, it's like, oh, good, Shannon's melting down again. It's like Julia Sugarbaker going off on someone on Designing Women. Like,
oh my God, if
it's going to
said
happen.
That in front of Ace, he'd be like, "What's that? I've never heard of that." Every reference that I make, he doesn't know. He didn't know who Billy Joel was. I mean, he doesn't know. Like, he doesn't know anything about anything. There's such a huge generation gap between us that it's really
I think
funny.
That's what makes it so fun.
Oh, I know. And it's so unexpected, right? It's like so funny. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens, like moving on. I'm done. I think that after Heather revealed that she would prefer to be on Beverly Hills, I think it changed for me. I never liked her, to be fair. I've never liked her. But it really changed for me whether I even want her on the show, and I don't know why. The thing is that she would be struggling, I think, on Beverly Hills to fit in there. I don't think she would fit in there as well as she thinks. It's not just about money. There's a dynamic there.
No, there's
they're a little bit more cool
dynamic.
and chill.
Yeah, like
I mean,
there's...
she only wears black and like nobody there cares that much about being, I don't know, like looking like a prepubescent child, which is what she looks like to me. Like she gets skinnier and skinnier and skinnier. Like I think she has a problem.
There's a quality about Beverly Hills that I don't see her there.
No.
I just don't. I feel
don't
like
either.
she'd be better suited either in Orange County on that show, because I do feel like every show needs that person with like a lot of money, right?
Oh yeah. And
the problem with Heather to me is that she doesn't reign like over the girls like a queen. Hear me out.
Yeah.
She's not a Lisa Vanderpump.
Oh no, especially
Like,
because
that's the
she's
problem.
afraid of Tamra, and Lisa Vanderpump would never be afraid of anybody.
That's what I'm talking about. So
Yeah.
she lacks that element to me. And I feel like in order to be that person, you have to have zero fear of anybody.
How
And
many
she didn't have
Lisa
that.
Vanderpumps do you think we've had? Like, I feel like Leah was a Lisa Vanderpump type. Karen Huger.
I can see that.
Karen Huger? Do you think? Huger?
So Karen Huger to me reminds me, and I know this is going to sound crazy, probably not now based on the scenario, but I feel like there's a Lisa Vanderpump type and then there's like a Teresa type, right?
Oh, okay.
And so I feel like Karen probably fits more into the Teresa / Nene type.
But Teresa is not calculated.
No, she's not. See, Teresa's not calculated, but I think that there's
not because I don't think she would want to be calculated. I just don't think, I hope she doesn't call me about this now. Because last time I said she doesn't think on her feet, she called me.
She's not quick on her feet. Huh? No, she's not quick on her feet.
I know, and I said that, and so she called me, and I'm like, why is she calling me? I was on a flight to LA or whatever. And then we kept missing each other, and finally we talked to each other, and she said, I just want you to know that I am quick on my feet.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay. I find that funny, but kind of refreshing at the same time, because it's like she's another word that Ace didn't know, like an ingenue, like kind of like, yeah. And so I think Karen Huger is much more calculated than that. And Nene.
This is such an interesting dynamic.
Maybe not Nene, because Nene flies by the seat of her pants.
And she is quick on her feet.
And she is quick on her feet. Right. This is what I'm saying. And
okay. Oh
yeah.
my God. So we have some differing character types.
So now we have
I don't
a third
know that
type.
we had another Lisa Vanderpump though.
I don't think so either.
I think the closest that we might have come might have been Leah.
Yeah. If Leah was interested in being on the show. Like
I don't feel like Leah had the desire to manage the pieces on the chessboard.
She didn't at all.
I feel like Lisa Vanderpump might have wanted to manage things a bit more.
And some people will say that Kyle is the next Lisa Vanderpump, but not even
close.
In no way. In no way is she that.
I could see Kyle being a low-key producer, but I can't see her being like, she just doesn't have that, because Kyle has a nervousness to her that it just doesn't, like, there's a lot that she can't handle, which also makes her fun to watch at times.
Yeah. And she seems very genuine because she shows that.
Yeah. And that's one thing I can say is that whether she's right or wrong, I feel like she truly believes.
Oh, no, yeah, she believes it. And I think that Lisa Vanderpump is very, like, it's all for show. We
Yeah,
don't know
I think
if
she's coming
Lisa's
to this like, I've got a plan. This is what we're gonna do. Okay, the season's gonna go like this. I'm gonna have all of these fabulous events. It's gonna be so fun.
what chance.
Maybe Lisa Barlow.
Lisa Barlow.
Maybe
Yeah.
I could meet Lisa Vanderpump, Lisa Barlow.
Yeah. What about Stephanie from Miami? Do you think she's got a potential? No.
No,
We've
she
not
doesn't have it
talked
together
about
enough.
that too much.
She's already kind of breaking.
You think she's breaking in your eyes, or just
When
breaking?
I watched this past episode, I'm like, okay, girl, you're trying to fit in. Like, that's not what that's not what you do as a boss. Like, you don't try to fit in. You have them elevate their standards to meet yours. And if they don't, then that becomes the fun disconnect that we watch.
It's funny because Christian, who co-hosts my podcast, my soulmate, my friend, my tampon, I don't know what it's called. It's a super complicated name, but it's a good podcast. And he also does a lot of stuff for HERDAT. And he posted the other day that Stephanie is constantly trying to convince us that she has a job. You know, she's always trying to convince us of a bunch of stuff.
Personally speaking, if I'm that rich, I don't care what you think I do.
I don't care either. I don't care either. And it's funny because she has started growing on me despite the fact that they tried to sue me. Because honestly, I can separate those things. People think that, oh, if I don't like somebody, no. I can be convinced to like somebody after I didn't. Look at Katie. You know, I can be objective and say I'm wrong. I am not ready to say I'm wrong about Stephanie at all. Like, not even close. But I am starting to appreciate her because it's nice to have someone on Miami that's actually smart. She may not be smart in the way that she handles the money and like but I'm saying that she can speak intelligently.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? And
I
her
do agree
language
with that.
skills are good. Her Spanish is great. Her English is great. You know, sometimes with that particular, what do you call it, Housewives show, you feel like you need Duolingo. You know, there's a lot of accents going on. Sometimes I don't understand Julia. You know, when she gets really excited, I don't understand her. Kiki, sometimes I don't understand her. God knows I don't understand Alexia. You know, there's a lot. And Adriana doesn't even know what language she thinks in.
Wretched or ratchet?
Ratchet. I love Adriana, by the way. And
I love her too, actually.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, like, why is she so calm? The Adriana that I remember watching,
she's older. She's going to be 60.
You were on?
Yeah.
I just feel like that was a spicy woman.
Yeah, but these are important years. You just said you were 47. So,
yes.
You know, enjoy it.
Am I going to stop being spicy? I mean, no.
No, you won't stop being spicy. But when you get close to 60, the things that rubbed you the wrong way, the things that you wanted to feel that I need to react immediately. I'm a Scorpio, you know, I am impulsive. I am, you know, I can be. So I am, and I know people say this, but this is the truth. I will kill for my friends, kill for them. Like, seriously. And there's nothing, if I care about you, there's nothing, you can't do me wrong. I can't. But if I don't like you, and I just don't like the way you walk, the way you sneeze, the way you chew your food, then I can't stand you. And I don't know why. It's not fair, but it happens.
Your point, I think, was that as you age, you kind of,
your
level of care about certain things,
that's it,
maybe diminishes a bit,
Richie,
right?
I stopped like caring so much about everything. You know, it's like I have such a strong sense of like equity and justice, and that's why I became a lawyer. And I want things to be right because I do things like I would never screw somebody over, not because I care that much about you, but because I can't live with myself, and I have to live with myself. You can't get away from yourself. And so I expect everybody to have that mentality when it comes to things. And no, people will just be like, oh, I know I told you that, but I changed my mind. And it's like, that makes me crazy. But even that I'm starting to let go of because I guess you're facing your mortality and you think, God, I don't have that much time left. I'm not going to spend any of it worrying about that person or thinking about that over and over again. So I think that Adriana's at a point in her life where she hasn't had an easy life. She hasn't. After Frederick, which God knows she should have stayed with Frederick. Frederick adored her, and he was a good man. I liked him a lot.
I don't
She's
even know
been
why
alone.
that ended.
She didn't love Frederick. She really didn't love Frederick. I mean, I don't know why she said, but I can tell you that seeing it, she didn't love Frederick. And that's how it is a lot of times, you know? The power is with whoever loves the least. And he worshipped her and tried really hard for her to, you know, to do well on the show, to do well. He supported everything about her. She talked about this past episode about how she's been traded in twice for a younger model.
Yeah.
You know, that's tough, especially when you, so she's going to be 60, but you look at her and it's like, my God, where do I sign to look 60 that way? But that doesn't mean that your life experiences and your brain and your heart and everything else isn't 60. That's still 60. And that's a lot of life and a lot of heartache and a lot of disappointment. And this show, this is why I'm telling you that people's like, oh, she's dying to come back. I could not do that right now. Physically, emotionally, in any way, I could not. Because first of all, the things that they talk about don't matter to me anymore at all. I don't live in Miami. I came here because those things don't matter to me. What matters to me is time with my family, time, you know, doing just, I know it sounds ridiculous, but things that are more simple. And yeah, I love doing this podcast. People are like, but why do you, like, I laugh every time I do this. Like, it hurts from laughing with Ace. Like, it's really, like, I've come to, like, love him. You know, I feel like he's my family. You know, when the baby was born, it's like my kids are like, did Ace have the baby? Did whatever? Like, it's just like he's part of, you know, and those things matter to me more than, you know, I don't really care what anybody says about me anymore. I just don't. And I think Adriana just feels like beat up by life. You know, I think she just feels beat up by life and she's questioning her mortality and she's alone. And I don't think she wants to fight back anymore. Marisol trying to get rid of Adriana from the second Marisol was made a friend of back then, season 3, her quest has been to undermine Adriana any way that she can to get her off the show because she thinks that that will put her in the position of becoming a housewife. Listen, Marisol spends her life kissing ass to those producers. It's incredible. Like, it's her whole thing. For those 10 years, she would send them gifts. She would go visit them. I believe that she almost single-handedly brought this show back. So, and they're having, the show's becoming like one of the top housewives shows, right? So they should thank her by making her a housewife, and they don't make her a housewife because she doesn't have enough going on to be a housewife. So, but Adriana's sick of fighting her on that. Adriana's happy being a friend of. She told me. We've talked about what her perfect cast would be, and she's told me, Stephanie is this, you know, everybody wants Nicole back. Nicole is a housewife, this one is a housewife, and me as a friend. She's happy being a friend, you know? But I think the world has beaten her down. Life has. And it makes me feel really sad for her, but I also like that she is so honest to share that. Because a lot of us feel that way. Not everybody that's watching that show is, you know, 35 and, you know, no. There's a lot of people that are watching that show that have been watching from the beginning that are now, you know, that now have their AARP cards.
It's so funny to put context to that scene with her and Gertie in the way that you just did, because I feel like we get a glimpse of it in her telling us, but I feel like hearing you talk about it gave us a bit more backstory to how she got to this point. Yeah.
So I will tell you that I spoke to Adriana right after the reunion, and she stayed in New York an extra day, and then she went to Brazil to see her mom. She hadn't seen her mom in 2 years. Whatever happened at that reunion, which was probably a lot of Marisol attacking her, made her feel like she needed to go home to her mom. She was so sad when I spoke to her. Sad. Not upset, not crazy, like, you know, with Johanna, you know, remember all that stuff? She would go crazy. No, just like, I give up. I'm not fighting this anymore, but I need my mom, you know?
Wow.
When you see a 60-year-old woman, 59, I'm not going to say 60 yet because need to go to see their mom after somebody to like lick their wounds, you know, and she goes, I'm alone, Anna. I don't have anybody. Her son is gone, making his own life.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have a man. She doesn't have any friends. She's very mysterious. You'll see her pop up and you're like, how is she in the south of France? Where is she getting the money? Where is she getting her money from? I don't know where she's doing any of this. She has men, boyfriends, whatever, but I don't know that I've seen her with a bunch of girlfriends. And so Gertie's been a great friend to her, and Lisa's been a great friend to her. And you know what I like about both Gertie and Lisa is that it's not in their best interest to do that, because when you think about it, Adriana is not a top dog there.
Right.
Most people would do what Julia's doing, kissing ass to the other people, but I appreciate so much how Gertie and Lisa are being with Adriana, and that the three of them, they're like, I love them. I think they're like, I think Kiki's a flip flopper. I think Kiki will be like, whoever's, keep me on this show. Yeah.
I kind of agree with that, because it just, and I like Kiki, but this season I've kind of felt like she's just done some interesting things that just feel weird to me. So, Ace and I don't know if you heard about the debacle when Ace just hung up mid-podcast. Do you know about this? No.
This happened, 2 episodes ago. We were having a spirited debate, and he just hung up on me. Like, I had to finish the podcast by myself. And people gave him a lot of shit for it. I didn't, because I understand all the shit that was happening with him, and how Caitlyn, his wife, had high blood pressure, how his history with babies, infertility, losing foster children, all that informed this moment where I was, but what we were arguing about before he hung up was Gertie. And he says, Gertie's like, why does Gertie have to be like, oh no, my father died. Oh man, your father died. Like she does all that. It's like, I was arguing with him because the last time you and I did this show, you opened my eyes, which you've done a lot in the years we have been friends, to where Gertie comes from and her life experiences make Gertie who she is today. And her experience is not my experience. And Gertie has lived a life where she hasn't been heard, where she's been overlooked. Even this season, the things that would be so horrible for somebody else, it's like, oh, just brush it off. So yes, Gertie wants to be heard. And if you've been either silent your whole life, you want to be heard. And I appreciate that, especially now that I can see it, because the last time we spoke, I'm like, she's a lot. Remember? Mm-hmm. And we talked about it, and I said, because she's saying that she felt violated. Isn't violated a lot? And you explained it to me, and I appreciate that, because I see people through a different lens now, and her especially. And so that's why, he and I were, first of all, he's younger, and Ace is a different mentality. He just looks at something at face value, but he is aware of her, what makes her like that. We were arguing about it. And I told Gertie the other day, I said, I had a fight with my co-host because of you. Gertie has a lot to prove, but Gertie also feels like they've done her wrong. And Gertie feels like people have gotten in trouble on other shows for a lot less than what was done to her. Mm-hmm. And she's right about that. She's right about that. So I just think that, for me, Gertie, Adriana, and Lisa are just right now what the feel-good part of the show for me. Because
it is such an interesting dynamic, because it feels like some of the other girls are, God, I don't want to use the word I was about to use, but it just kind of feels like they are, I don't want to say ganging up on them, But there's a word for what I'm trying to say, that I just feel like
I
they're doing stuff to them.
right.
And it's like,
I
and then
think
dismissing their feelings.
right. I do think that they first of all they dismiss Adriana because Adriana they don't benefit from Adriana in any way. And so I said the other day she's the lowest rung, and Ace are like, well, how can you be saying that? I thought she was your friend. She is, but she knows she's
To them.
and to right. And if I were on the show, I'd be that. I don't have recognizing that is I'm not going to be like clueless about it. I think she knows. So they don't benefit. There's nothing that she does that benefits them directly. So yeah, they disregard her feelings. With Gertie, I think it's different. I think they're jealous of Gertie because Gertie, despite everything that she's been through, she doesn't give up. And Gertie is become like a force, and she gets more opportunities than anybody on that show. She gets invited to more things than anybody on that show. She has the strongest marriage. She does not use her family as props in any way. She's solid, and I think that bothers them because you would think that Alexia and Marisol and people that have been on the show, them in particular, that have been on the show so long, they would have all sorts of huge endorsement deals and stuff like that. But it doesn't happen because brands really care about somebody's who they are. You know what I mean? If first of all, if your whole personality is being drunk, it's not going to work out. That's scary to a brand. And then, I just think that Gertie is I said it, that she's making lemonade out of cancer and making her, she has a second chance. And if not now, when? And I love that. I think she's an example to women, whether you like her or not. Her delivery could rub you the wrong way. I know it rubbed me the wrong way at the beginning. It really has to do with how you see them. So let's really, before we end today, I want to get into a little bit of Real Housewives of Potomac. What Karen do you think we're going to get? Like, what do you think was it 6 months?
6 months.
6 months in jail. I can't even imagine, Richie. Like,
I can't either.
I feel like I could do almost anything, but I can't do dirty. I can't do roaches. I can't do disgustingness of food. I'm such a prima donna when it comes to that, yet I'll do my own hair. I mean, I'd do everybody's hair in prison. Who do you think she is now? Because that changes a person. And because of her age, because I'm telling you, this is from 50 to 60, you become a different person. You become, I think, the best version of yourself, the one that's not hung up by all this stuff. Do you think Karen is still going to be that person that wants to prove so much?
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't think she's evolved at all?
Well, I think that maybe, I don't want to use the word not evolved, but I do think that she'll probably come back with something to prove. I think that she is going to come back and still give us theatrics. I think she's going to still have a bit of that. I don't ever know that she'll lose that.
Chip on
I don't
her
want to
shoulder?
call it, I don't want to, yeah, I don't want to call it arrogance, but I think that she
There's
has
a little
spent
bit
so
of
long.
arrogance. It is
Yeah, I
arrogance.
think that she's spent so long being like a little bit of a target on that show that she's had to develop this sort of like iron, suit, right? So I think that we're still going to get that because to a large degree, she will be the storyline when she returns, and make no mistake, she's returning, right? But I do think that she will probably maybe not be drinking.
No, exactly. But do you think that she'll make...
that's the only thing.
Yeah. Do you think she'll make an excuse, like she'll still, double down on the fact that I just went and I just did the time because it was, they had decided I was guilty and this and this and this? Or do you think she'll come back, like with real contrition and say, I messed up, I drank too much, I was whatever she did, rude to the police, I want to be an example of what not to do? I just don't think she has that in her. What do you think?
That's a good question.
It would be great.
And I don't know if a producer can do this or not, but if I were the executive producer, my direction would be, we want you to watch this footage, and we're going to get your reaction to what you said when you were arrested. Because that, in my opinion, is the best way to get a real reaction from her.
Okay, let's
you
say
watch
that
this
happened.
in real time.
That's a great thing. I don't know if it'll happen, but definitely some of the women are going to say, you don't remember you said this and this and this, and they might bring it up. What do you think her reaction would ever be? Is there a world where she would say, no, you're right, I shouldn't have said that. I should have admitted, I got caught, and I should have admitted that I was wrong and moved on from there?
It's hard to say because she's never done that in the past. So given that, even when all of the evidence was pointed against her, I felt like she had every opportunity, even down to the wire with the whole case. There was so many ways that this could have gone differently. She did not take that opportunity. I don't know why. So it would surprise me if she was, contrite and apologetic about what she had done and how many missteps she made in that last season. But given that she hasn't been able to do that in the past, I mean, it's hard to say, but I would love it if she were.
Yeah, me too. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think that that's who she is. Just like I think when Jen Shah comes out, and if she comes back to the show, she's going to be like, I was framed,
Personally speaking, I feel like Jen should not be able to come back to the show.
I agree. I
think that what she did
was so
is
egregious.
just... I don't want to see that on my television screen.
And I think that we're all going to hate her because who doesn't have, everybody has a mother, everybody has a grandmother, everybody, and how vulnerable they are. My mom calls me, they're like, oh, look, they sent me this. I'm like, it's spam. It's, we have like a safe word. In other words, so that if she gets, I tell her, you can get a call from one of your grandchildren, and it'll be their voice, and they will tell you, I need you to drop off this money in cash, but please don't tell my mother. And unless they ask them for the word. And if they don't say that word, it's not them. And it'll sound exactly like them. And it'll be like, this is the world we live in. So when you have somebody knowingly, defrauding and older people who all they want is enough security, especially like after COVID, all that stuff, that they would take advantage of that is horrible. Horrible. Like, I don't think we want her back.
I don't want to. And also, too, she was so not, again, not the slightest bit of contrition about the situation. It was denial up until the end. And I somewhat kind of get that, because if that's your defense, okay, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, you've been convicted of this. You've served the time. I don't want to see you on my television screen in terms of my entertainment.
I hope that's how they feel it, Bravo, but I have a feeling that they'll test it out. They might bring her back
Monica.
and then,
I would rather see Monica.
Oh, yeah, me too, for sure. Because, like, for example, what Karen did, really, yes, she could potentially hurt somebody, but ultimately, it only hurt her.
Yeah.
That's not to say that she couldn't have and that we don't need to consider that. But, when you drink too much, nobody ever thinks they have a problem and whatever. It's not to give her an excuse, but it's a far cry from what Jen did.
Yeah.
So,
totally different.
What do you expect? What kind of dynamic do you expect on Potomac?
I'm interested this season because I feel like what we're going to see is, from what I'm hearing, that there will be Stacey and the rest of the ladies. I think that Stacey's going to be on a little bit on an island by herself. I feel like she's gotten herself into some hot water with several people because of several things that she's done. There was the allegations of her trying to date Chris Samuels, who was Monique's ex-husband. And so I just don't know that any of that's going to really play in her favor.
Right.
And she is interesting to me because I didn't take her to be someone that would mislead us when we first saw her. But the more we began to watch her in the past season,
Yeah.
I started to raise an eyebrow because certain things just came across as like, I don't think I believe you. I don't think I believe this
Right.
story. I don't think I believe this relationship. And now I don't believe you.
I agree with
And
that.
I don't like that.
No.
I don't like when I have to question. Like, that's the last thing I want to have to do is question whether or not. Like, granted, I know there are elements of the show that are.
Exaggerated.
Yeah, I mean, but that's we know that,
We
right?
know that, yeah.
But there's another whole idea of you coming into the show and there's like not a real relationship. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care that you're not in a relationship.
Right.
I actually rather see that because how are you navigating life
Right.
not in a relationship? Like, that's interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of people that still hold on to the name Real Housewives and think that everybody has to be married. And maybe at the beginning that was the concept, but it isn't anymore.
No.
You know, I mean, now we're breaking the fourth wall all the time. I like it personally.
I love it.
I think it's great. And I think it's moving more towards that because it has had to evolve, you know. It's like the shows is like the same format over and over again. So you got to give us something exciting. So anyway, Richie, I can't tell you how much we love I know that Ace was disappointed that he wouldn't be here because he's like, I want him on when I'm on. I'm like, don't worry. He is now part of the RHOC family and he's going to be doing the rounds. You definitely need to do, to get the word out there with we have like a lot of great people on this network, even though we don't have
I'm
retreats
excited.
or dinners. Don't expect any dinners or retreats, but other than that, they're awesome and they're very supportive. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for
I
having
really
me.
appreciate it. And I am going to join you on yours. So I'll let you guys know when I'm on. And follow Richie at Richie Skye, DJ Richie Skye.
DJ Richie Skye, everything.
Everything. DJ Richie Skye, everything. And also the name of the new podcast is
Beyond Reality.
Beyond Reality on RHOC and wherever you get your podcasts. So guys, please give me a 5-star review, even if I'm here alone without Ace, because I had a great co-host today. I appreciate you guys, your support. You always say such nice things and it means a lot. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Richie. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Baby Riggs, for coming into this world. Thank you, Ace. And of course, thank you, Beyoncé, which, by the way, I was really rooting for Riggs to be born on September 4th, which was Beyonce's birthday, but he decided to take his time. Almost. All right, guys, I will see you soon. See you on Friday. All right. Bye.